Imagine getting paid just for sharing your thoughts on products and services you use every day. With Survey Junkie, it's that simple. Click on the link in the video description to discover how you can start earning today by taking surveys.
A Keir Starmer supermajority would be like Tony Blair, on steroids, with unchecked borders and out-of-control wokery, a top Tory warns. A crushing victory for Labour would lead to more constitutional vandalism and chaos on migration and gender policies, according to leading right-winger Miriam Cates. The warning comes after Defence Secretary Grant Shapps said giving Sir Keir unchecked power would be very dangerous for the country, but insisted the Tories were still fighting for every seat. In an explosive interview on our Never Mind the Ballots election show, the former Penistone MP, whose 7,000 majority is at risk, insisted SJE had not conceded anything yet. She also warned Nigel Farage that if his booming Reform Party takes millions of votes from the Tories, it could lead to right-wing MPs like her being ousted. She told our show, which is available to watch above, that the prospect of a Labour government doing these things again is an alarming one. Ms. Cates warned, very large majorities are not necessarily good for democracy. People can vote how they want to vote, and they should do. It's completely up to them. They shouldn't be frightened by the prospect of one party having a particular majority when they go to the polls. I do think it's a fair warning, particularly to Nigel Farage, actually, that if we had an enormous Labour majority, they would embed all sorts of things in our political system, in our constitution, like Blair did. Things that we have not yet managed to repeal, which is why the judges have had so much power and we haven't been able to sort out illegal immigration. The idea that a left-wing government wouldn't do that on steroids, with an enormous majority. It's for the birds. She also claimed that many of the problems faced by the Tories stemmed from the legislation that Blair, Labour PM from 1997 to 2007, pushed through. Blair introduced the Scottish Parliament and the Welsh Assembly and removed most hereditary peers from the House of Lords in 1999. The Rising Star cited the Equality Act, the Human Rights Act and the Gender Recognition Act as examples of other Blair-era laws which should have been overturned. Ms. Cates continued, in the last year, the government, the Conservatives have started to wake up to the consequences of what Blair did. Look at the row about biological sex. That is a direct result of the Equality Act, the Gender Recognition Act. These are the things that have allowed women's rights to be squashed, allowed children to be put in danger. Yes, of course, we should have reformed it, but at least we're waking up now. The prospect of a Labour government doing these things again, bending these things further and further into our system, taking power out of the hands of Parliament, therefore the people, and putting it with technocrats and civil service is an alarming one. And politicians and commentators should be sounding the alarm on that. Asked how the Conservatives had plummeted from an 80-seat majority in 2019 to being 20 points behind in the polls, Ms. Cates said, I suppose a very quick answer is that COVID and Ukraine. And some bad decisions by the government, let's be honest, no government is perfect and they make mistakes, have left people pretty disappointed. The young Tory star, 41, added the government's failure to drive down immigration had been a big mistake. By Ryan Sabby, deputy political editor. Fears are growing within Tory circles that they will receive an almighty hiding from the electorate on July 4th. Look at how the language has changed in recent weeks. Rishi Sunak told our channel at the start of the campaign that he was eyeing up an election win and England would win the Euros. That now seems like a pipe dream. Defence Secretary Grant Shapps has been touring the TV and radio stations this morning telling voters not to hand Sir Keir Starmer a blank cheque. He told the public that Labour shouldn't be given unchecked power, especially when their plans are vague. He put on a brave face telling Times Radio saying there was still everything to fight for. The seats both parties have been visiting tell their own story. On Monday, I visited Horsham in West Sussex, which has a 21,000 Tory majority. Sir Keir Starmer has visited Monmouthshire, which features way down the list of Labour target seats. For Labour are on the attack.